We're going to do the Yellowtail Snapper, very popular fish in South Florida. We're going to start with our basic shape, which is our oval and our triangle in the front, a little longer rectangle in the back, and a nice big triangle in the back that's going to be that big tail. Find the center, go a little bit forward. We're going to find our line here, and we're just going to go up and just put in a little bit of a basic for the dorsal fin. Then, even with that, straight down, and we make a bit of a triangle that's going to be for one of the two pelvic fins. Come back a little bit on an angle, and that'll be the anal fin. So there we have our basic shapes. I also want you to make a line straight through here and come out about halfway. That's going to be where our tail comes in. So let's go up here to the head, and we're going to follow this line down till we get almost to the end here, and then bring it in. That's going to be the upper lip. Come out about a quarter and come out to where we have our triangle end. Come down a little bit, right through here, come under our line that was the end of our triangle, and to a bit of a point. That, of course, is the gill cover, and there's a little bit of a line here. Now for the eye, see where the oval comes up right here, kind of near? We're going to put the eye right there, nice circle. All right? Now to extend the rest of the fish, follow our oval, come down to our rectangle, and we're going to follow this and kind of flare it out a little bit. Here we're going to come under our gill, again up here to our rectangle and out and over a little bit. Now where we put this line, that's going to be the end of the fork of our tail. So we're going to bring this into there and another straight line right out for that. And we've got this nice fork tail. This is it's not a super fast fish, but he's not one that just languishes around like a snapper or a grouper. A little bit faster. Now we come up here to our dorsal fin, and there's a lot of spines in that. So we're just going to come in a little bit, and then come up and down. And it kind of sometimes lays flat and come in like that. For our pectoral fin, look where the center is. We're going to go lower than that, right behind the gill cover, and just come out, come in and up. And that we have our basic shape. Now we take our eraser. Yellowtail snapper are very abundant in South Florida. They're excellent eating. They're rather small fish. It's very common to be able to catch one that's within the limits. They're very good eating, nice white flesh. We find them about on our reefs and in the sandy shores. So now that we have our drawing rather cleaned up, and I did make my lines a little darker so that you could see them, now we're going to come in with our paint. I have my big brush. What I'm going to do is just do a little bit of, and you can see I already have a little blue on my brush, a little bit of a light blue right up through the top of the fish, right through there, and just a little bit here on the belly, and a little bit through the cheek and the gill cover area. So that's just a very, very light blue. Again, I'm using my Reeves watercolor, which come in some nice basic colors that are excellent for beginners, from white to black, although I rarely use the white. And in this case, I use the very light blue. So I laid that down. Now, I'm going to get my yellow. And we want a nice bright yellow. They are called the Yellowtail Snapper. Let's put in a nice bright yellow tail. And I'm letting that dry. Now I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to go on the side and put in my nice dorsal fin with another yellow. Use the yellow here too. Put in one of my two ventral and the anal fin. Now hopefully this is dry and I can use my yellow, and there's a stripe that goes right down the center. It starts up here around on the eye and it goes straight back into the tail like that. Very, very definite yellow stripe. comes in off the nose. So we have this. I'm going to add a little bit more here on my dorsal. All right. The other thing that we have is these yellow spots that are upwards of where the stripe is. So using my big brush, I'm going to put in some of these yellow spots. We're going to be coming back and doing a little bit of blue here, but for now, I'm putting in some of those yellow spots. Okay? All right. Now, I have the yellow on my brush. I'm going to wipe it off. Rinse out my brush. And I'm going to get some of that light blue again on my big brush. Now I'm going to put in just a little bit up here where the top of the fish meets the dorsal fin, and up here in the nose, just a little bit of definition, and a little bit behind the gill cover, a little bit here on the lips, a little bit forward of the gill cover, the bottom of the mouth, and just a little bit going backwards, just a tad. Okay? I'm also going to put just a little bit at the base of this fin and that fin. Okay? Now, I'm seeing that I want it a little darker, so I put a little bit more on my brush. I'm going to get the dark blue this time, and I'm going to just put a little bit more right here. Sometimes they appear to be very light, but I'm putting a little bit more dark here. Okay? So now we have that. Now also, with the dark, I'm going to put a base of this fin. Very often when you see them swimming, this fin is flat, but in this case, I'm going to show it as it fans up. I'm also going to put just a little bit at the base here of the tail. Just an indication. Okay? Now let's go to our small brush. I'm going to do the eyeball. So with my number 4 round, I'm getting the black, and I'm going to put in the eyeball. And whenever we do eyeballs, we always leave just a little bit of white. It gives it that reflection, makes it look real, and the eyes sit in that socket. So I'm just implying that little bit of a socket. I'm going to mix my black with a little dark blue, and I'm going to come in here and show the lip of the fish. Fish do have lips, so make it a little bit darker here, come down, and same on the bottom. Now you can tell how a fish eats by the shape of the mouth, whether the lower jaw protrudes more or if the upper jaw protrudes more. It's how whether they come up under the fish or they come over the fish. I'm also going to use this blue-black to show a little bit of this operculum here, the gill cover. And we know that the gills have several lines. It's in there that have all those nice red blood cells that allow the fish, of course, to take in oxygen out of the water. Now for this particular fin, I'm going to use my thin brush here, and I'm going to make the lines come in and a little bit of an edge here. And now we want to get that dark blue, very dark blue, and I'm going to show the fins that are in this dorsal fin. So I'm going to come up and show each one of these, and it starts to go to the back, so make your lines starting to go to the back. Those are the spines that come off the vertebrae. That's what makes it a bony fish as opposed to a cartilaginous fish like a shark or a ray. Those are considered fish, but their skeletons are cartilage, whereas the bony fish, the skeletons are made of bone like us. We're also going to do the anal fin here. Again, we're going to make our spines coming out and a little bit of an unevenness there. And let's do it on one of the 2 ventral fins. Now if we want, we can show the other ventral fin. I can just make another line here and a little bit there, and that'll show the ventral fin behind it. Okay, using that blue again, I'm going to just make a line here, and I also want to show a little bit more definition up there. There we go. Now for the tail, we're also going to show the spines. You got to be kind of careful that you get them all even. So I'm going to start here, make a spine here, and I'm going to start to go out here from the center. Okay, and then we're going to make some more coming up and down. And again, make it a little bit uneven at the edge. There we go. It is yellowtail. He does have a yellow tail. Very strong yellowtail. And I'm also going to show a little bit darker here up at the front of the fish. Still using this dark blue that was on my brush. And I'm going to make it just a little bit darker here, just to give them a little more dimension. And right up through there. A little bit right here. Now this fish has scales. So the way I'm going to do the scales, I'm using my big brush. Let me get another dry one over here. A big brush. Just get it a little bit wet. And I'm going to get a lot of my light blue paint on it, but not much water. Then I'm going to tap it very lightly just to show some scales. So if your bristles come out enough, you can see as if it looks like scales, just like what I'm doing here. And that gives the impression of scales. A few of them over here. I'm going to put a little bit on this, a little bit underneath here. Get a little more paint. Spread out my bristles. I'm going to show some right through here. Get a little more paint. I think I need a little more water. A little more paint and a little more of those, what appears to be, it's scales. And I'm going to do a little bit into this yellow line here. So I've got my fish pretty well done. I'm going to just take a little bit of yellow and put it here around the eye. And I'm going to take just a little bit more of that yellow, just a touch on this fin. And a little bit of my blue, shading it a little bit down here. So on the bottom, a little bit more here, just to give it more dimension. And I've got my Yellowtail Snapper. Let's write it in. Yellowtail Snapper. A very good eating fish, found in tropical waters.